Members of the media, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon to you all and a very warm welcome on this special occasion. I am delighted to be here today to share my thoughts on the occasion of the 90th anniversary of the Indian Air Force. It is indeed an important occasion for all air warriors as we reaffirm our commitment to protect the nation's sovereignty and integrity at all costs. We also pause to remember and pay tribute to our predecessors whose fortitude, vision and courage has allowed us to be counted amongst the best in the world. Recent events on the global landscape have clearly indicated that the presence of a strong military is imperative to ward off external threats through deterrence, and if deterrence fails, to neutralize those threats. Therefore, the armed forces in general and the Indian Air Force in particular will continue to remain a linchpin in the national security matrix, both as a coercive deterrent as well as a war-winning instrument. Over the years, the Indian Air Force has proved its capability across the entire spectrum of conflict, ranging from peace, no war, no peace, and conflict situations. Traditionally, wars were fought on the land, sea, and in the air. Today, newer domains of cyber and space are increasingly affecting the conduct of operations even in the traditional realms. To absorb these changes, the Indian Air Force is on a path of transformation so that we can fight and win tomorrow's wars. We are in the process of acquiring and operationalizing cutting-edge systems in our inventory. At the same time, the task of upgrading the existing inventory of aircraft, weapons, and other combat support systems continues unabated. We continue to be actively deployed, while at the same time expediting the operationalization of recently inducted systems like the Rafale, the light combat aircraft, S-400 among others. Today, as I speak, the Indian Air Force continues to be ever vigilant and deployed. Our air defense elements are deployed 24/7, 365 days of the year to prevent any violation or transgression of our national airspace. Our SAJW units continue to be on alert, and our fighters are always on readiness to be scrambled in a matter of few minutes to counter any emergent threat. In the last 1 year, the transport and helicopter fleet has been extensively utilized to provide relief to our citizens during floods and other natural calamities across the country. Our helicopters played a pivotal role in rescuing trapped passengers from the Deferred ropeway, as well as in containing forest fires in Kasauli and Sariska tiger reserves. Our C-17s flew 28 missions and evacuated over 2,800 citizens from Ukraine in the early part of this year. The Indian Air Force participated in exercise Blue Flag in Israel, exercise Udara Shakti in Malaysia, the Tactical Leadership Program in Egypt, the ALTC in UAE, and the recently concluded exercise Pitch Black in Australia. We also hosted Oman for the exercise Eastern Bridge in February this year. Participation in such exercises presents us with an opportunity to demonstrate our operational prowess and strategic reach while exercising with some of the best air forces of the world. Our focus has been on building indigenous capabilities and also upgrading our older equipment. We are totally in sync with the government's push towards Aatmanirbharta, and in the next few years, we are looking forward to inducting the LCA Mark 1A, the HCT-40 trainers, indigenous weapons, and different radars. The light combat helicopter has been inducted into the Air Force yesterday, and I am confident that this helicopter will add teeth to the Indian Air Force's strike capability. We are fully committed to the development of the LCA Mark II and the AMCA. The induction of the C-295 is a step in the right direction and will boost Indian aerospace manufacturing ecosystem. We were also the first service to sign a contract under the IDEX program for counter-UAS systems. The Meher Baba 2 scheme has also been launched, and we hope to see significant progress in the domain of unmanned aerial systems. In line with our Honorable Defence Minister's vision of transforming the Indian Air Force to an aerospace force, we see space as a natural extension of the air medium, and we understand the need for exploiting this domain to the nation's advantage. Space-based assets significantly enhance the potency of air power, and therefore our strategy is to fully integrate our air and space capabilities to have a common picture of the aerospace medium and to enable optimum force application. Air power has the unique capacity of undertaking independent strategic operations as well as operations coordinated with sister services and other arms of the national security apparatus. We understand the imperatives of joint planning and execution in future wars and are keen on integrating the efforts of the three services. We believe that the model of integration that we adopt must be future ready. It must reduce the levels of decision making and capitalize on the strength of all three services. We need an organizational structure that is best suited for the Indian conditions and our geopolitical imperatives. We have recently updated and revised the doctrine of the Indian Air Force to keep it relevant. The next step would be to use our doctrines and well-trained manpower to evolve employment philosophies and concepts of operations. This would require joint planning and joint execution of plans. No single service can win wars on its own, and this holds good even for the future. To keep pace with the technological developments in the field of aviation, the training pattern, curriculum, and methodology has been made modern, innovative, flexible, and disruptive. I am confident that the benefits of the same would be reaped by the service and the nation in the future. Recruitment of air warriors under the Agniveer scheme has been streamlined, and 3,000 Agniveer Vayu will be inducted into the Air Force in December this year. The Indian Air Force takes pride in fostering an environment of sportsmanship and competitiveness. Our sportsmen proved the mettle once again by bagging 3 medals in the Commonwealth Games 22 held in Birmingham. We as an organization are gender agnostic and recognize merit and performance above everything else. A high ratio of women officers in the Indian Air Force is testimony to our commitment in providing equal opportunity and level playing field for every individual irrespective of gender. These officers have proved themselves on every occasion, and it is a matter of pride that one of our women helicopter pilots has recently been conferred with the Vayu Sena Medal Gallantry for her contribution to disaster relief operations during the flash floods in Madhya Pradesh. Induction of female Agniveers is also planned next year. I feel it is an opportune time for us to transform this service into a modern, future-ready, and technologically superior aerospace power by the time we celebrate our centenary 10 years from now. I am sure all air warriors will put their best foot forward in that direction. I also exhort all stakeholders, especially the DPSUs, private industries, MSMEs, to continue providing unflinching support to enable this transformation. As we reaffirm our commitment and resolve to safeguard our nation's sovereignty, I take this opportunity on behalf of all air warriors to express my gratitude to the nation for the trust, confidence, and support entrusted in the Indian Air Force. Thank you and Jai Hind.
Thank you very much, sir. Before we begin with the question and answer session, I'll just lay down the ground rules. Please ask only one question at a time. And in case I find that a question has been already answered, I'll seek permission from the Chief to move on to the next question, unless he would like to add on or to the answer. We'll start with Ms. Shivani from Times Now. I would request the photographers to kindly leave the pathway free for the movement of the microphones.
Good afternoon, sir. I'm Shivani from Times Now. My question pertains to the present condition along the line of actual control. And there have been incidents where we've seen the Chinese Air Force has tried to come very close to the Indian territory, the Indian side. So how the Indian Air Force has been reacting and controlling this attempt? And is there any impact of the disengagement that's happening on the assets that are deployed along the LAC?
Okay, you are aware that the disengagement has taken place at certain areas along the LAC. However, we keep monitoring the situation as far as the PLA Air Force goes. And you are aware that the infrastructure development continues to take place at a rapid pace across the LAC, particularly in the eastern Ladakh sector. As regards to the recent air violations or incursions or increased air activity by the Chinese, we continuously monitor it by continuously enhancing our air defense efforts there. We have increased the presence of radars and SHW systems. We have networked them into our IACCS network, and appropriate non-escalatory air defense measures are taken, always on time. I think we have been able to signal our intent and signal our state of readiness with the actions that we have taken so far.
Mr. Manish Kumar Jha.
Sir, good afternoon. Manish Kumar Jha from Financial Express. So, as you said, but also the warfare is rapidly changing and is evolving on the unmanned system. and you talked a lot about the future aspect of building, how the Indian Air Force is geared to embrace such challenges. And also in the same lines, there are so many projects being developed, say the Rustam 2, Ghatak, and this is for the Indian Air Force. So where do you see all such projects unfolding, evolving in the future planning roadmap of yours, sir? Thank you.
You rightly pointed out that the unmanned systems are the way of the future. We are acutely aware of the requirement to induct not only all varieties of unmanned systems, but also to have adequate countermeasures against such systems which are being procured by our adversaries. The major programs that are in the pipeline are, of course, the procurement of the male class of UAVs, for which the Indian Air Force is the lead service. Also, the weaponization of the existing fleet of male UAVs, which will be undertaken as an indigenous effort. In case of the high altitude, long endurance HAIL UAVs, the Indian Navy is the lead service for procurement of this. When it comes to the counter UAS systems, we have already contracted for a large number of soft kill, hard kill counter UAS systems. We also have helped in the incubation of this kind of systems through the IDEX program, and we have a large number of, in fact, a large spectrum of counter air systems, counter UAS systems, which are in the pipeline.
So, Mr. Ajit Dubey.
Sir, yesterday there was this Iranian aircraft which had entered into our airspace, and you had activated your two Su-30s to chase it and it shadowed them. Sir, now we have also seen now the S-400 air defense systems have also been operationalized, and they are in the Punjab sector. Sir, in yesterday's incident, were they also activated in case there was an emergency?
No, the primary method of interception for any aircraft which may be suspected to be having either an hijack situation or what we term as a rogue aircraft. The first way to intercept is with the help of fighter aircraft which are on readiness, so that you can signal to the pilots on board or anybody else who's taken command of that aircraft that they are being followed and they can be destroyed. Sorry, you were saying? Okay. So the as per the given standard operating procedure, the response was to scramble fighters, initially 2 of them from a base in Punjab, and thereafter another 2 followed this aircraft all the way till it left the Indian airspace.
Mr. Jayant Baranwal.
Hi, sir. Good afternoon. Regarding the fighter squadrons, you did say last year we won't be able to achieve 42 numbers. And you said that in 10, 15 years, maximum it will be 35 in numbers. How is the scenario going? And also, what is the production rate of LCA these days, which is also going to be major platform for our upcoming fighter squadrons? And is that satisfactory?
Coming to the LCA induction, the IOC version of the LCA, we had already inducted all the fighters, 16 of them in the first squadron. The FOC version, we inducted about 14 of them, and the balance, including the trainers, should get inducted by end of this fiscal year. You're aware of our contract for additional 83 LCA Mark 1s. Apart from that, we are also committed to acquiring the LCA Mark 2s and the AMCA in future. The quest for getting a 4.5 or 5th generation MRFA aircraft continues. We have analyzed all the RFI responses. The ASQRs are being finalized. We were seeking more commitments from all the OEMs for ensuring the indigenous content and the Make in India provisions are adhered to by all the OEMs. So that is work in progress. So with all these inductions of probably 6 squadrons of the Mark II, the AMCA and the MRFA, I would still think that we will be at a state of about 35 to 36 squadrons by middle of next decade. Middle of next decade, that's right.
Ms. Poonam Pandey.
सर मैं पूनम पांडे हूँ नवभारत टाइम्स से। सर अभी जब ईस्टर्न लद्दाख में कई बार ऐसा हुआ था कि चाइना हमारे काफी करीब, चाइना के एयरक्राफ्ट काफी नजदीक आ गए थे और स्क्रैम्बल भी हमारे एयरक्राफ्ट हुए थे, तो उसके बाद ये बात हुई थी कि आपस में हॉटलाइन एयरफोर्स टू एयरफोर्स होगा, उसका क्या हुआ है सर? क्या अब डायरेक्ट बात होगी? क्योंकि जिस तरीके से कोर कमांडर लेवल मीटिंग हो रही थी, क्या उसमें एयरफोर्स को लेकर बात नहीं हो रही थी? और सर एक ये कि 51 स्क्वाड्रन जो रिटायर हुई है श्रीनगर बेस्ड, उसकी जगह पर अब क्या कौन से एयरक्राफ्ट वहां डिप्लॉय होंगे?
पहले तो है हमारे और चाइना के बीच कॉन्फिडेंस बिल्डिंग मेजर्स अभी भी तैनात हैं एंड इसके तहत वी इंश्योर दैट नन ऑफ द CBMs आर वायलेटेड। और अगर कोई CBM वायलेशन होता है तो वी हैव नाउ हैव एन एयरफोर्स ऑफिसर हु रिप्रेजेंट्स अस इन द बॉर्डर टॉक्स विद चाइना। तो जो लास्ट बॉर्डर मैनेजमेंट टॉक्स हुए थे उसमें एक एयरफोर्स ऑफिसर भी शामिल थे और ये जितने भी एयर वायलेशन केसेस हैं उसी मीटिंग के दौरान उनके साथ टेकअप किए गए हैं। फिलहाल कोई हॉटलाइन एस्टेब्लिश नहीं हुई है, बट वी विल यूज द आर्मी हॉटलाइंस फॉर कम्युनिकेटिंग एनी एयर वायलेशंस। कमिंग टू 51 स्क्वाड्रन, ये इट इज अ पार्ट ऑफ आवर ड्रॉ डाउन प्लान फॉर द MiG-21 बाइसन। हमारे पास 4 स्क्वाड्रन्स थे, उसमें से 1 स्क्वाड्रन वाज ड्यू टू बी फेज्ड आउट दिस ईयर, तो दैट वाज 51 स्क्वाड्रन एंड उसकी जगह पे वी हैव मूव्ड अ MiG-29 स्क्वाड्रन इनटू द श्रीनगर वैली।
Mr. Rajiv Ranjan.
सर राजीव रंजन, NDTV इंडिया। मेरा सवाल ये है कि वायुसेना दिवस जो है चंडीगढ़ शिफ्ट करने के पीछे क्या सोच रही सर? अब वायुसेना चंडीगढ़ शिफ्ट कर रहा है, आर्मी जो है पुणे जा रहा है, तो क्या हम माने कि इसी कड़ी में 26 जनवरी भी कहीं और किसी जगह जाएगा देश में परेड?
देखिए, मैं एयरफोर्स डे के बारे में बात करूंगा। दैट इज वे बियॉन्ड मी टू आंसर एवरीथिंग ऑन द रिपब्लिक डे परेड। बट एयरफोर्स डे डिसीजन निर्णय लिया गया है कि जो परेड और फ्लाइंग डिस्प्ले होता है, इट शुड बी टेकन अराउंड द कंट्री सो दैट मोर पीपल गेट टू सी द प्रोग्रेस ऑफ द एयरफोर्स एंड इट सर्व्स एज एन इंस्पिरेशन फॉर द यंगर जनरेशन टू ऑप्ट फॉर एयरफोर्स एज अ चॉइस ऑफ फॉर देयर फ्यूचर करियर्स। तो इसी कारण हमने डिसाइड किया है कि हर साल एयरफोर्स डे परेड एक नए स्थान पे होगी और इसमें काफ़ी कंसिडरेशंस है। वी हैव टू लुक एट अवेलेबिलिटी ऑफ एयर स्पेस, अवेलेबिलिटी ऑफ नियर बाई एयर बेसिस एंड ऑल्सो द पॉपुलेशन अराउंड विच इज सुटेबल टू कम एंड विटनेस दैट। सो इसीलिए फर्स्ट चॉइस हमारा चंडीगढ़ था। नेक्स्ट ईयर ऑनवर्ड्स वी विल टेक इट टू सम अदर पार्ट ऑफ द कंट्री। वी हैव नॉट येट डिसाइडेड वेयर इट विल बी हेडेड नेक्स्ट ईयर।
Mr. Ashish.
Good afternoon, sir. Ashish Singh from TV9. Sir, रशिया यूक्रेन वॉर का इम्पैक्ट पूरे विश्व में बहुत अलग अलग डोमेन पर भी हुआ है, चाहे वो फ्यूल हो, इन्फ्लेशन हो या फिर फूड हो और वेपनरी हो। क्योंकि भारत स्पेसिफिकली इंडियन एयरफोर्स की कन्वेंशनल डिपेंडेंसी एंड रिलेशन रहा है एयरफोर्स के रशियन प्लेटफॉर्म्स को लेकर, क्या उसका असर पड़ा है इंडियन एयरफोर्स के, चाहे वो एम्यूनिशन हो, प्लेटफॉर्म्स हो, मेंटेनेंस हो, उसको लेकर? और क्या इंडियन एयरफोर्स ने इस युद्ध के शुरू होने के बाद, जो कि अब भी चल रहा है, अपने प्लान्स को लेके स्पेसिफिकली रशिया यूक्रेन पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू सप्लाईज को लेके क्या रीओरिएंटेशन किया है अगले आने वाले कुछ महीनों और सालों के लिए?
इस समय में लगभग 6 महीने हो चुके हैं रशिया यूक्रेन कॉन्फ्लिक्ट को शुरू होते हुए, और अभी तक हमें किसी भी स्पेयर्स या किसी भी कंपोनेंट्स की कमी महसूस नहीं हुई है। हमारी सप्लाईज अभी भी जारी हैं। हमने पिछले कुछ सालों में इंडिजिनाइजेशन की ओर काफ़ी बढ़ावा दिया था। हमारे जो थ्रू और बेस रिपेयर डिपोज एंड लोकल इंडस्ट्री पिछले कुछ सालों से हमने लगभग 62,000 स्पेयर्स डोमेस्टिकली हम प्रोक्योर करते हैं, स्पेयर्स एंड कंपोनेंट्स। तो इसीलिए हमारी जो डिपेंडेंसी है रशिया और यूक्रेन पे दिन बे दिन घटती जा रही है। And we are confident that with the domestic industry stepping up, we will be able to overcome any shortfall in spares from that we've been traditionally acquiring from Russia and Ukraine.
Mr. Ajay Banerjee.
Afternoon, sir. Ajay Banerjee. Sir, I will stick to the word transformation which you used to describe that what you imagine in 10 years. Sir, what would be this transformation be in 10 years? Would you be a network force with the space assets? What will this transformation mean in terms of phasing out obsolete equipment? And how do you visualize the new equipment coming in? What sort of equipment will come in?
Okay. Our focus will be firstly on retaining the cutting edge that we have in this region. Our focus will be to ensure that the Indian Air Force remains a power to reckon with. So towards this, all efforts are being made to ensure that the drawdown of equipment is being countered by robust procurement policies, innovations, and the ability to make good the shortfall through better use of technology and tactics. So in the long run, I think at the end of the 10 years, or when we celebrate the centenary of the Indian Air Force, I think we will continue to remain as a major player in the world as a force, and we will be equipped with contemporary equipment at that time. So that is the way forward and that is the future that we see ourselves, where we're going to be. It is too long to be listed here, but I just made a mention about the fighter aircraft procurement. In terms of transport aircraft, I think we are quite satisfied right now with what we've got and the long-term plans in terms of the C295 coming in. In terms of force multipliers, the AEWC Mark II, that is on the Airbus 321 platform, the design and development should be completed in another 5 years, and 6 aircraft should join our fleet by end of this decade. In terms of other force multipliers, we are hopeful to add additional flight refueling aircraft to our inventory. We are looking at modern surface-to-air guided weapon systems of all caliber and all ranges. We are looking at newer radar systems, I-Star platforms. So like I said, the list is endless, but definitely it is not just purely in terms of hardware. We are also looking at innovation in terms of software, having robust networks. Our focus will also be equally shifted towards the cyber and the space domains. So acquiring of capabilities in these two domains will also continue.
Mr. Mukesh Kaushik.
सर मैं मुकेश कौशिक हूँ दैनिक भास्कर से।
Okay.
सर आफ्टर ये PP-15 से डिसएंगेजमेंट के बाद चाइनीज स्पोक्स पर्सन ने कहा कि सिचुएशन अब भारत के साथ नॉर्मल हो गई है, लगभग नॉर्मल हो गई है। क्या आप उनके इस कंटेम्पलेशन से सहमत हैं, और अगर नहीं है तो वो कौन से बेंचमार्क है जिसमें आप कह पाएंगे कि नॉर्मलाइज हो गई है? 2 साल के इस पूरे एंटायर फेस ऑफ में क्या आपको कभी लगा कि फुल फ्लेजेड वॉर भी चाइना से छिड़ सकती है?
जो बेंचमार्क की बात कर रहे हैं, हाउ टू जज वेदर सिचुएशन इज नॉर्मल, आई थिंक द बेस्ट बेंचमार्क वुड बी टू रिटर्न टू स्टेटस को एंड कंप्लीट विड्रॉल फ्रॉम ऑल द पॉइंट्स ऑल अलोंग द LAC. So that is the ideal situation that we would look for. ये जरूर मैं कहूँगा कि we continue monitoring through all our ISR efforts what are the developments which take place across the LAC, and जो हमारी तैयारियां हैं in terms of infrastructure building, in terms of equipment, in terms of training and tactics is a continued effort, irrespective whether we see any belligerence on the part of China or not.
Mr. Abhishek Bhalla.
Sir, I'm Abhishek Bhalla from India Today. Sir, this is regarding the recent accidental BrahMos firing. Sir, a court of inquiry was also held. Can you share some details of the findings and also share what are the SOPs so that such incidents don't take place?
Okay, I think it will not be appropriate to divulge the findings of that. Suffice it to say that an high-level inquiry was conducted. The some of the loopholes in the SOP that were found have been adequately debated at the tri-services level and have been plugged to ensure that this kind of an incident will never happen again.
Mr. Angad Singh. Okay. Mr. Snehesh.
Hi, sir. Snehesh from the print. So this regarding the while the Russia-Ukraine war is on, a lot of faults have been found in the Russian fighter aircraft fleet. We have about 260 of the Sukhois with us. They still use the air-to-air missiles that the Bisons use. What is the upgrade program for the Sukhois and where it is stuck? How do you see this upgrade program going forward, sir?
Okay, we are the upgrade program is work in progress. We have to continuously review and refine the ASQRs for the upgraded Su-30. We have decided that this upgrade will be done indigenously with a plethora of indigenously designed weapons and airborne EW systems on board. So we are looking at upgrading 84 aircraft in the first tranche. But what we have to understand is that the design and development phase itself for any new system like this would take a finite time, maybe 4 to 5 years. And thereafter, the actual modification and the work on the aircraft will start. So it is still some time away, but however, our plans are in progress for having a more or less and completely indigenous upgrade to the Su-30. Yeah, I think I'll let my Vice Chief who's been dealing with this answer. He's got something to add.
Apart from the big upgrade which the Chief talked about, continuously for last, I would say 10 years, we have the capability of adding new weapon systems, new sensors, and that has been happening. And in fact, that's the major part. All indigenous weapon, whether it is Astra missile, BrahMos, all has been done indigenously without anybody's help. So we have the software as well as HLS hardware capability. So there is a spiral development as it is happening. And that has given us continuous upgrade to this major fleet of ours, unlike what other countries might face. So that is the main advantage with Sukhoi 30 which we have.
Mr. Manas from PTI.
Sir, how do you see the evolving security scenario in Afghanistan, and do you think, there is any challenge that may come from Afghanistan, the evolving situation, as well as the situation in Indo-Pacific? Do you see any role for Indian Air Force for any stabilization effort for the situation in Indo-Pacific and with China's belligerence?
Okay, when it comes to the Indo-Pacific, I think there are a lot of lessons to learn, and we continuously monitor what is happening in that region. Particularly in terms of use of air power in maritime scenarios and use of multi-domain warfare, that is, or capabilities that are being exploited in that region. So we continuously monitor it, and we will continue developing our own tactics and our procurement plans based on what we see happening there. With respect to the near neighborhood of Afghanistan, from the Air Force point of view, I really don't see much of a threat.
Mr. Neeraj Rajput.
नीरज राजपूत सर, एबीपी न्यूज से सर। सर अभी देश में नए सीडीएस का अपॉइंटमेंट हुआ है, 9 महीने के बाद हुआ है, और उनके पहले मीडिया इंटरेक्शन में ही उन्होंने साफ किया कि जो भी चुनौतियां होंगी वो मिलकर हम लोग लड़ेंगे। लेकिन सर पास में हमने देखा है कि वायुसेना का रिजर्वेशन रहा है थिएटर कमांड को लेकर, तो क्या सर ये एक लंबे समय तक रह सकता है रिजर्वेशन, क्योंकि जैसा आपने कहा कि 35 to 36 स्क्वाड्रन जो है नेक्स्ट डिकेड के मिडिल तक होगी, तो तब तक क्या इंतजार करना होगा देश को थिएटर कमांड को लेकर?
नहीं, पहले तो मैं I will just make the position clear. We are not opposing any process of integration or any process of having theatre commands. But we have certain reservations with respect to the structures. And 3 or 4 points which I mentioned in my opening address, कि आप चाहे किसी भी तरह का इंटीग्रेटेड स्ट्रक्चर बनाएं, 3-4 चीजें ध्यान में रखनी चाहिए जो हमारे लिए बहुत जरूरी है. Number 1, it should be future ready. When you say future ready, that structure should cater for cyber warfare, space warfare, everything taking place, not just traditional domains of warfare. Number 2, decision making chain should reduce. फिलहाल एयरफोर्स में decision making chain is 2 levels or at best 3 levels. We don't want that with this new structure, decision making chain is now, the number of levels are increasing. तो ये नहीं होना चाहिए. We understand that हमारे resources नहीं है कि बंटवारा हो जाए different theatres में, तो उसके लिए भी we can, the flexibility of the Air Force to operate from fixed bases and swing to either side is always there. So we are fully supporting the integration process. It is only the methodology and the kind of structures that need to be future ready is what we insisting on. I said future ready. It should be shorter decision making, reduction in the layers of command and control, and more importantly, to synergize the core competencies. You know, each service has a doctrine. The doctrinal aspects of the Air Force in particular is what I am worried about. Should not be compromised in any way by this new structure.
Sangeeta ma'am.
So Sangeeta Saxena from Aviation and Defence University. So my query is that by when do we fill in the deficit we have in the mid-air refueler section?
Okay. As of now, we have a plan to procure 6 FRA aircraft, for which the RFI has been issued. It may take some time for the entire procurement process to fructify, since we have enhanced the scope to include even used aircraft by the OEM. So he can provide us with a used aircraft modified for flight refueling. So therefore, since we have increased the scope to include FRA to used aircraft, they may take some time to do the benchmarking of the price and so on. In the interim, we have got the AON for wet leasing of the FRA aircraft for our training, and work towards that. The RFP should be issued shortly.
Mr. Dinakar Perry.
So Dinakar with the Hindu. So in the last 2.5 years, you have had a huge temp of operations, forward deployments in standoff, and the developments in Ukraine. Is there a major revision in your force planning? And because you talked of long-term modernization effort, and does the concept of 42 fighter squadron still hold good? Is there revision or reassessment on that front?
See, the reassessment of our capabilities vis-a-vis the adversaries is a continuous process. And like I said, the reassessment is not purely based on bean count or on the quantitative analysis of what the adversary has. It is also a qualitative analysis. Definitely, a lot of lessons are being learned from the Russia-Ukraine war. We have we have to clearly understand that the context of use of air power in that area is completely different from what it would be in our area of operations. Keeping all these in mind, I think it is not merely the numbers that we are looking at. It is the quality, the technology that is more important to us.
Ms. Huma Siddiqui. There.
Good afternoon. My name is Huma Siddiqui and I'm from the Financial Express. Just wanted to know, when is the next Vayu Shakti expected, or is it getting delayed because of the Russian-Ukraine war?
Yeah, unfortunately we had to call off the Vayu Shakti due to the the situation that was emerging at that time. We normally plan to have one big event every year, and we alternate between the Aero India and Vayu Shakti. So unfortunately, 22 was the time for the Vayu Shakti, and now 23, we'll have to wait and see if the dates of Aero India are finalized. Then we will take a call on when to do the Vayu Shakti.
Mr. Ajay Shukla. Colonel Ajay Shukla. Sorry, sir.
Good morning, Chief Sir. Congratulations on Air Force Day 2022. Some of what I am about to ask has been touched on, but you could treat it as a follow-on question to those. That's this question of 42 squadrons. It would have come as no surprise to you that so many questions come because of that. My question is, given the fact that you now have multi-role aircraft, you have so many force multipliers like refuelers and so on, have you ever thought about taking up a case to reduce this number 42? It's just an embarrassment. It keeps coming up in every press conference. It's one of those things you can rely on implicitly. Or are you worried that the question that replaces it might be even more embarrassing?
To be able to agree upon reducing the number of squadrons that are required or what are authorized for the Indian Air Force at this stage would be inappropriate to say that we are willing to accept what we've got now. The issue is, though, like I mentioned, that quantity does not really matter when it comes to conflict with the adversary, but quantity does matter when it comes to be able to spread across the large geographical area that we have to contend with. It is important when we have to have persistence. When I say persistence, we need to have strong air defense capability around the clock. With the given numbers, it might be impossible to maintain a 24/7 combat air patrol or an air defense watch right across from Sir Creek to Siachen and further to the east. So the numbers definitely are essential. 42 will remain. Like I said, I know that it is a difficult goal to achieve in the next few years or maybe in the next decade or so. But we will review it only based on the situation that arises in our neighborhood. Based on the current situation, based on the mandate given to the Indian Air Force, I think it is essential that we need to build up the numbers. Yeah.
How, despite other force multipliers, the numbers, how it is increasing. We don't want to get into a escalatory stake with China, but see the numbers and the quality, everything. So we have to balance it out. And Pakistan also has been a steady increase. So we have to balance it out. Despite we will get other assets. In fact, you're right, unmanned systems will come in, there will be teaming. But so is our environment around us remains a little hostile, rather more than that. So that's the balance. It's a complex situation. Numbers certainly can't be reduced.
Yes, sir. Please.
Good afternoon, sir, and greetings to you ahead of the 90th anniversary of the Indian Air Force. Sir, the recent appointment of the Chief of Defence Staff has been widely hailed by the military strategic community. Now, will the process of considering retired 3-star officers for appointment to 4-star, can this be extended to the appointment of all 4-star officers, including service chiefs? What is the thinking of the military leadership? What is your thinking on this?
I think this is bordering on a bit political issue, and I will rather abstain from answering this.
Can I have another question? Different subject?
We'll circle back to you, sir. We'll just circle back to you. Ms. Palak Sharma.
Is there a specific number you're looking at right now and roles, or is it just going to be a token for now?
We are looking at around 10% initially, and we have issues with respect to the number of specific trades and within the trades, the streams that these people can be used in. So, for example, if I have an engine fitter on, as a technician, I've got 39 fleets. So I've got 39 different, fleets we trained on. So we are just trying to focus on which are the fleets where we can utilize them best, where we have presently the wherewithal in terms of the infrastructure, in terms of lesser requirement to move them continuously. So we will make a beginning there, and we will grow as time comes. Like I said, I think we have been the most gender agnostic for many years, and we will give full, with an open mind, we will accept them in any trade in any place.
Mr. Mukesh Kaushik, you had a follow-up question, sir?
I think he's waiting for lunch. So. Good, so everybody is ready for lunch. Okay. Suddenly the hands come up.
Okay, Mr. Rajat, if you have one.
Hi, sir. Rajat, sir, a follow-on question. You have mentioned about the 42 squadrons. Sir, how serious is the threat of the depleting fighter squadron, the age of the fighter squadron, especially the Jaguar? What is the timeline for the Jaguar phase out, or the MiG-29 phase out, or the upgrade? Could you please give an update on that, sir?
Okay, the first 3 squadrons that will phase out in the coming 3 years are the remaining Bison squadrons. This will be followed by the Jaguar fleet. Sometime from 2025-26 onwards, the first lot will start phasing out. And the depletion of the Jaguar fleet will continue till probably 2032 or 33. This is the time when even the upgraded Mirage and the upgraded MiG-29 fleets will start depleting on having completed their calendar life and their total technical life. So we see that the existing 5 or 6 squadrons of Jaguars, 3 squadrons of Mirages, and 3 squadrons of MiG-29s will all get number plated somewhere in the middle of next decade.
Okay, we'll have one last question, Miss Kavita. Oh, sorry.
Yeah, I just wanted to, Pandit from Times of India, just wanted to check what is the status of the additional 12 Sukhois and the 21 MiG-29s. They've been deferred, they've been scrapped.
Yeah. No, they still remain under the deferred category. Sorry? No, it's not a question of hitting sanctions. For the 12 Sukhoi 30, the issue was the protracted debate on the indigenous content. And we had asked for some enhancement in these 12 aircraft, which may not be possible to do so now. So we'll have to fall back to the previously made ASQRs. But like I mentioned, the status of procurement remains in the deferred category.
Good afternoon, sir. मैं कविता जोशी हूँ, हरिभूमि न्यूज़पेपर।
Yeah.
सर मेरा सवाल अभी जो प्रेजेंट सिक्योरिटी चैलेंजेस हमारे सामने हैं, जो सिनेरियो है डोमेस्टिक और इंटरनेशनली जो बना हुआ है, जिसमें LAC डिस्प्यूट इंडिया में चल रहा है, चाइना का एग्रेशन है इंडो पैसिफिक में, अफगानिस्तान का चैलेंज है, रशिया यूक्रेन वॉर है। इस सिचुएशन में अगर हमारे सामने 2 फ्रंट वॉर का सिचुएशन आता है, तो उसके लिए एयरफोर्स कितना प्रिपेयर है, क्या तैयारी है, कैसे निपटेंगे हम?
ये आई थिंक किसी तरह मैंने ये सवाल का जवाब दिया है अभी कि वी आर ऑलवेज प्रिपेयर्ड फॉर एनी कंटिजेंसी टू द बेस्ट ऑफ आवर एबिलिटी. वी विल वेर एवर वी रन, जहाँ पे भी कमी महसूस होती है हमारी इक्विपमेंट की या नंबर्स की, उसकी भरपाई हम करते हैं थ्रू बेटर ट्रेनिंग एंड बेटर टैक्टिक्स. और अभी हमारा ध्यान इस तरफ शिफ्ट हो रहा है कि कोई भी ऑपरेशन फिलहाल जो होगा, एनी कॉन्फ्लिक्ट विल बी इन मोर डोमेन्स दैन द ट्रेडिशनल डोमेन्स. तो फोकस हमारा साइबर और स्पेस डोमेन की तरफ भी जा रहा है अभी, एंड उसमें हमारी क्षमता बढ़ाने की हर कोशिश जारी है.
Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen.
Okay, we'll take one last.
Over the years in all the talks and seminars, we have been hearing that future wars or future will be short lived. So now with Russia Ukraine fighting for so long, it's been over 6 months. Are we also looking at two front and very long course like this, sir? And if yes, then how do you prepare for that?
I think, there are various ways of saying future conflicts can be short, swift, high intensity. They can be protracted, low intensity, probably what we're seeing, or they could be protracted with varying intensities depending on the global situation at that time. So predictability of this, of what kind of conflicts that we are likely to face, will be based on the continuously changing geopolitical situation around us. We are preparing ourselves for the worst case scenario always, which is a protracted and intense conflict. So we always prepare ourselves for such kind of a scenario.
Thank you very much, sir.
I'll take.
I take on board your statement that the Air Force is on board with the Federal Command Council. Now, many generals and admirals and marshals have written as commentators that one of the sort of arrangements that is being looked at is for the Air Force to get the Air Defense Command as well as one of the commands against China / Pakistan. And the question that has come up is in some of these commentaries that will the Air Force be able to take leadership of the Pakistan facing command or would it not be able to do so because it has a specialist role? What is your thoughts on this? Could the Air Force be in charge of a Pakistan facing command and fight a full war with all the planning and so on?
Of course. Simple answer is yes.
Thank
Yes,
you.
we will be able to take on the charge of an integrated command and not necessarily only against Pakistan, but we will be able to head a command. It's a matter of time, it's a matter of training, a matter of getting all the forces together. The idea is to have a joint planning process primarily, and we are well capable of handling that.
Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen.